Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. With the most recent 4.1 PTU patch, I discovered something pretty crazy. I was exploring some of these blue garages right here, and when I went inside one of them to get a red keycard, I noticed that there were ship components inside. And I thought, well, that was weird. I haven't seen those in here before. And it was some military and stealth grade C components. So I was like, oh, well, that's cool. So you can find some ship components here. So I've been exploring around some more. But I have found something pretty insane. So I have discovered that by doing the Hathor Outpost events and setting up this tower, there is a little garage that will open at the end of that and will reward you with Class A stealth and military components that normally all of these components you've only been able to obtain by doing contested zones for a while now. But this is a completely new way to be able to do this. So in this video, we're going to walk through how exactly we go through this process of getting these components and a little bit of a guide as to what ships would probably work well to do this, what vehicles you may want to use, and all sorts of things like that. So if you want to see how to get a bunch of really good ship components, just sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. So to get started, I'm going to recommend that you use a ship that is capable of carrying a large vehicle such as the Ursa Rover, specifically the Ursa Medical. That's because it is a great mobile respawn point that you can use. In the case that you get killed or you have an injury, you can repair that there. And then so ships that would be able to carry that would be something like I'm flying right now, the Corsair. There'd be some other ships like the Freelancer Max, which you should be able to rent in-game. Or something like the Constellation series, any of those, the Valkyrie, that sort of vehicle would be able to carry the Medical Ursa. But you can use that Medical Ursa, again, as a respawn point. And then what I'm going to recommend doing is actually parking your ship a kilometer or two outside of the outpost and then driving the ground vehicle. And that's because ground vehicles have a lot lower signature, and so they're much harder to target on radar, so you can get in under the radar a little bit easier. The other thing with the Medical Ursa is it has two storage containers that allow you to carry quite a bit of loot out, and it actually just has some open space inside for specifically the ship components that we are going to find. So once you have those things, you're going to want to head to either Aberdeen or Daymar. So Aberdeen is a moon of Hurston, and Daymar is a moon of Crusader. And then on those moons, there are two locations where there's these three outposts where we can go. So you want on the map in your Mobiglass, you're going to want to look for a cluster of like 4 markers that you can go to. There should be 2 on each of those moons, and then either of those is where we can go to do this. So once you've chosen one of those, you're going to want to come up, and depending on how you feel, you could land close with your ship and take out the ground vehicle, or you could land a little bit further away, a couple kilometers out, and then take in the ground vehicle. I think we're just going to, for today, I'm going to go and land in with my Corsair, and then bring out the Medical Ursa, and we are going to go show you how to do this. Alright, we have got our Medical Ursa outside the Corsair now. So now there's several different small buildings that are dotted around the central radar tower here. So what we're going to do is go around and explore each of them. Pretty much all of them is going to have some sort of keycard printer in them. Most of them have a blue keycard printer, which gains you access to maintenance areas. So for example, this garage is a maintenance area. And you'll see right here, there is a little thing where you can put in a blue keycard and it will open that garage up. And then some of them just have regular loot containers, but some of them I have found have ship components. So let's go ahead and let's explore this one a little bit and see if there are ship components in there. Luckily, there's some windows through the garages, so you can kind of see in there before you actually go in to know if it's worth using a key card. But let's go explore and see if there is a key card dispenser in this building. Alright, so it looks like we do have a key card dispenser in this building. And look at that. Ship component. So, to get to this one, there is a little what would you call this? Little maintenance way, crawl space, I guess. To get to that, we're going to open this blue garage door outside. So you're going to need, again, you're going to need a blue key card. Those can be found at many of the other buildings. Pretty much every building that does not have a blue garage will have a blue key card dispenser. Some of them are just out in the open. You may have to fight a few AI. Some of them are behind like a gate. If you have a fuse with you, there's a little slot to the left when you come in that building, and you can put a fuse in and get in that way. Otherwise, there's a little bit of a parkour puzzle over some shelves so you can jump and stuff. Remember, these moons have low gravity, so that makes it a little bit easier for those things, and then you can get in and get those key cards. And then you're going to want to bring those to these places where then you can get the red key cards. So we will let this open up for a second, and then we'll go in and take a look. Alright, let's head on in. And a lot of the time there's always going to be more random standard loot crates. So there's this one, these big weapon crates. So we found there's an LMG in here, we got a big scope. So feel free to loot around these. A lot of the time there's stuff up on shelves. So for example, I'll show you here, so you can mantle up onto these. Got these big blue containers. And in here we have, let's see, we got a max lift tractor beam, we got food, mining attachments, all sorts of goodies, mining gadgets even. So there is a lot of loot to be had at these locations. But let's go ahead and let's go through this little tunnel. And let's go grab one of those red key cards. Then we will see what this component is as well. Looks like it's a military component. There's also some other loot crates here. We got a little nice SMG with a skin on it. Okay, we'll grab the key card here. And as of right now, the key cards have a 45-minute reset timer. So it can take a little bit if you get there and someone's already got it recently. But yeah, as of right now, the reset timer for those is 45 minutes. Okay, let's go ahead and look at what this component is. Okay, so this is a Regulus. Okay, so that is a military, I believe, Class C component, if I'm not mistaken. From what I've seen, the Class C components, I haven't seen any Class Bs, but Class C military and stealth components can spawn fairly commonly in these blue garages. So now what we'll do is we'll open the garage back up. And being a size 1 component, this one is small enough we can actually just throw it in the back of the Ursa and take it around with us until we're ready to go back to our ship. So we'll open the back of the Ursa here. We'll just slide that right in. There we go. Okay, now let's go check out another building and see what else we can find. Alright, here we are at another building. Now this is one of the ones that is going to have a blue key card inside. Now again, some of them, they'll be over in the corners like this or this, but there'll be like a fence guarding them, or you have to go jump up on some containers like this and hop around and to get to it, sort of like that. But some of them, they're just sitting right here. A lot of the time, these ones tend to have a lot of AI that are in here. For some reason, there just aren't in here right now. But if you're coming to these buildings, especially be prepared for a real fight with a lot of AI that are quite responsive. So just be aware of that. So we'll go ahead and grab our blue key card here. Now, specifically to get to where we can get the Class B and A components, you're going to need at least 3 red key cards. So most of these outposts there's 2 red key card printers in some of the outer buildings, and then generally there is 1 red key card printer in the main building that has the radar dish. So that's a total of 3 red key cards. So usually you're going to need 2 to 3 blue key cards just in case, to get to some areas where there's a red key card printer. But then again, the blue key cards you can also use to open those garages or other rooms like that, where you can find those a little bit lower class components, but still, you know, some military and stealth components. So with that, let's go ahead and I will grab a couple more red key cards, and then we will go to the central building and I'll show you how we're going to do that and get the Class A and B components. Okay, one other thing I wanted to point out, at the base of the radar tower on one of the sides, there is another maintenance garage that has some additional loot containers and such things that you can see. But right there, if you notice, we do have some areas where components can spawn. So this is like a cooler of some sort, and I think I saw another one up there. So let's go ahead and let's open this one up. We'll just see real quick what these are, and then we'll move on to getting the Class B and A components. Alright, let's see what we got. So again, there's a bunch of loot containers, there's medical, there's weapons, there's armor, there's all sorts of cool guns and armor you can get out of these big containers. Look at all these really cool helmets and all sorts of wacko colors and all sorts of things like that. You can find a green LMG. There's all sorts of good stuff to get here. So now let's go ahead and let's take a look at what these components are in here. So we have a bracer, which I think that's a military Class C cooler, I think. So it looks like this is a Class C, and then we have a heat safe. I don't remember what that is. That might be, it's either probably a military Class D or B. I'll have to check real quick. Let me check on that. Okay, so I just checked, and the heat safe is actually a stealth grade C cooler. So again, so these aren't, you know, the best things you can get, but if you just want to get some military or stealth components, you can get them in these blue maintenance garages. So then with that, let's go ahead and move on to getting those Class B and Class A components. Okay, so we're here at the main building now. What we're going to need to do is you need to have those 3 red key cards. And then, so this radar tower is already up, so I won't be able to directly show you exactly right now. But what you'll do is there's 3 slots here where you'll need to place alignment blades. What you're going to do to get those is there are 3 areas in this building. The first one is here. It's the security area. Oh, look, there's a component right here. What is this? We got a beacon. I think that's a military B, maybe. So there you go. There's already a component laying around, probably from someone else getting it out earlier. But we're gonna want to go to the security first. You're gonna put in your red key card, and then right back there you can see below that little light, that is one of the alignment blades. So you're gonna want to go in there and grab that. There's also some other components it looks like in here. Let's actually go and take a look. I have not been into one of the red key card areas since they put this update out today. So let's just check. So you might be able to find additional components just in these security rooms, which is very neat, if that is true. Hold on, I just accidentally just stored the key card again. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and check. Alright, see, so we have our alignment blade right here. So you'll just take that, and then there's 2 other ones you can get in here. This is also where you can get the Volt Rifle. On these weapon racks, there's usually going to be 1, and then there'll be some magazines for it that spawn. Now, with these components being in here, I'm interested to know if these spawn in here or not. So it looks like we have Force Wall and an All-Stop. I believe this Force Wall... Or no, the All-Stop is a military grade C, and the Force Wall is a military grade B. So if those spawn in here, then that means you can find military C and B components in these rooms, maybe A as well. So then let's go check one of the other rooms too. And I'll point this out as well. Again, so most of these central buildings will have 1 keycard printer, the red one, in them. So this one is right here on the bottom floor. I've seen one that there's like a little platform up here, and that's where it is. I can't get it here because it's on its cooldown, but that is where you would get the 3rd red key card. So then the other 2 rooms where you're going to get those alignment blades are up these stairs. Just keep in mind also, there's going to be lots of AI that you'll have to fight. Hopefully not players, but lots of AI. So one of them is going to be in the comms room. We can see it right there on a little shelf under that light. I've seen it spawn here. And then also on this little desk right here, sometimes I've seen it. And then we also have this admin section where typically I have seen it spawn. There's a little back office here, and there is a little area that's similar, a little shelf where that alignment blade can spawn on. I think it's like right here or something when you go in there. But so you just need those 3 alignment blades. You put them in those little slots there. You'll put 1 in, and then it'll be a couple of minutes as the tower moves or aligns or whatever. Also, when you do that, be prepared to fight some sandworms or juvenile Valacar that'll pop out all around you. But once you have all 3 of those in, and the blade is aligned, this garage back here will open up. And there's a big battery that normally you take out, and that goes to the space station above you. And that's part of the alignment of the mining laser to then open up that big cave where you can get a bunch of new minables. But that is also going to be where we get our Class B and A components. So with that, let's go see what sort of components we have. Okay, so in this building, we have, looks like 5 components. So let's see what we got. So we have a Spectre, which I believe that is a grade A stealth drive for size 1. We have a Nova, which is another stealth drive. This is size 2. I don't remember if this is stealth A or B. Again, all of these are components that you cannot buy anywhere. We also have a Maelstrom, which is a military class B, I believe, size 2 drive. Then we have a Dynaflux, which I believe is a class B military drive for size 1 ships. And then up here we have a Mirage shield, which I believe this is a class A stealth shield that is size 1. So as you can see, there are several components that'll spawn here. I've only seen them spawn on this side on like the shelves and just right here. There's also, of course, more loot containers if you want those. But this is going to be where you find your Class B and A stealth components. Now, the reason I think this is going to be really popular for a lot of people is this is going to be, I think, way simpler, way easier, and nowhere near the time commitment of doing the contested zone loop where you have to go to all the contested zones, get all the special key cards, and then you have to go to the executive hangar at the right time and not get camped and get your keys taken from you. So this is going to give a much easier option, I think, to a lot of players who may not want to get into a ton of PvP. Now, I think once this goes to live, I think you're going to have to expect some PvP at these locations because of the event that's going to be going on along with them. But with there being so many of these outposts in comparison to the contested zones, I think you're not going to have nearly as many players to deal with. Oh, looks like someone came to say hi. Okay, and I guess he's going to kill me. Sick. It's funny, I say there wouldn't be as much PvP, and then right as I say that, there's a bunch of players that show up. But really, I think after the event has been around for a little bit, I think there'll be a lot less competition and people trying to do it. So I think you'll have a much better time trying to get those components, and I think it'll be, again, I think it's overall just going to be easier to do than trying to grind the contested zones. Because there's a lot more that can go wrong there, and I think this just offers a lot more opportunities to get those really good components if you're looking for those. So that is going to be it for this ultimate guide on looting the Hathor Outposts for ship components, where you can get Class A, B, and C stealth and military components that before this you were only able to get by doing the contested zone loop. So if you're wanting to have a little bit easier way to get those components for your ships, this is going to be the way to do it. If you enjoyed this guide, feel free to drop a like and a subscribe on the channel, as it really helps get it out to other people, to let them know that, hey, you don't have to do the contested zones if you don't want to. You can get the good components this way as well. And if you have any other thoughts on what you might do to get these components a little bit better, or just any thoughts you have in general about the whole process, or even if you think should we be able to get components in this way, or should it only be the contested zones where we can get them, let me know down in the comments, and I will see you in the next one.